and this
Dad?
commentary
Dad?
alleged. I'm not going to disrespect the infallible written word of God. So everything that you're hearing in the infallible written word of God is not alleged. Please, if you don't believe in the Bible, you may be offended. Please have an open mind. Disclaimer, if you're not, if you don't believe in the Bible, it's not alleged that you be hearing from the Bible, but everything else is alleged. Please have an open mind that you be able to receive the sage advice and paramount moors of the story intuitive. The information that you're about to hear is a parasite to those who don't have it. Without further ado, enjoy.
Give me all you got.
I want to say some disclaimers. Under Title 17 U.S.C. Section 107, allowances is made for fair use for purposes such as teaching, criticism, comment, news report, scholarship, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright status that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational, personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
You got.
I have no legal rights to the videos you're about to hear. Again, enjoy.
Composition, you know my endless and inconceivable creation, which I can see. And from the invisible, we're gonna stand and open up, place Jerusalem, open up, then we're gonna get into the lesson. Alright, kingdom over everybody. You can say kingdom over everybody. Y'all, this kingdom over everything. All about my opportunities for my resume. To the gospel, in the fridge, y'all. I just y'all see souls coming quickly. As I'm praying for my strength out. He say you got me long as I worship his God. You know he say I'll never let this long as he is number one. That's why I'm on my knees. Y'all take this kingdom. I'm a soldier. I would be no killers. God is the kingdom. The kingdom's eternal. I'm a soldier. I would be no killers. God is the kingdom's eternal. Exposing the lies. That's why these bitches mad at me. Dipping stuff in the massage. I call this movie persuaded. I pray to God that I make it. Look, got this food out here. Spanking. I mean it, I got this work and I'm meaning to do it. Study to prove it. You ain't gotta believe it. He gon' make doing this. We gon' be sitting underneath. We gon' help him in this kingdom. For the
Is they all gonna burn their sins. I'm on the trans necessary right up to salvation. Something like success. That's why I'm making y'all think this is solid come after me. Let him deny himself. He's taking those steps daily in solitude. Son of a slave his life. Son of a lose his life for us. The same
All right, Shabbat Shalom, family. We gonna stand and open up, face Jerusalem, open up. We gonna get into the lesson. You will see the people that follow you online. Look at your lessons and all lessons and vice versa. And a lot of people got a lot of questions. And a lot of people want to know what the business is. What's up with you? And when I got asked about it, I told pretty much, what I felt about it, which I didn't see no justification or rightness in it. Because the reason and the way you were doing the script, brother, was real basic and elementary, and you just can't prove it. So what we're going to have to do, we're going to have to go into the scriptures. We're going to have to go into the word definition. We're going to have to go into the Hebrew. We're going to go mathematically. We're going to go scientifically. We're going to go geographically. We're going to go prophetically. And we're going to go scripturally. And we're going to kill it. Now, y'all scrap in. We got some scripture we got to go through. And just as a reminder, I got another 30-round clip that I ain't even going to shoot today. So if Spirit move on me to address something after this or something come up, I got another 30-round clip I ain't shot. We ain't gonna shoot today, but we gonna go through these scriptures. And one other thing I gotta say before we get into scripture. If the Sabbath day is 12 hours, how you gonna calculate the feast day? Are you gonna save up 24 hours a day like me and start counting? You gonna have 700 some days in a year if you did it. If the night is not part of the day, we got a serious issue when it comes to calculating feast days, new months. Because I heard you say the book say days. Well, what about when you say years and months? What you gonna do with that? We have to be cerebral and understand these scriptures, brothers and sisters. We can't be going off half-cocked just because the elders and teachers of Chicago know that they've been going off, and then every time we hear something new, we latch on to it and say, oh, that's right. They talk a lot of stuff wrong. Said everything they talk was wrong. The book just say, hey, you're going to be wiser than your teacher. It's just like these young group, my son, my nephew, the other group, young group, they're going to be wiser than me when they let me, when it's all said and done. Every generation going to get wiser as we get closer to the end. Am I mad about that? No. I'm happy because I did my job. It got these groups on a pack that the most I can go finish it up with. So, start with, we're going to get into the scripture. And we got some PowerPoints and things that we're going to be going through, brothers and sisters. You know what I'm saying? So, we get this off here. We won't mess the thing up. But the first script we're going to go to, the beginning. We going to Genesis 1, and we're going to just read 1 through 3 first Hebrew, then we're going to do something else. Let me get there. Genesis chapter 1 and verse 1. When you get it, Hebrew, what do it say? And the earth was without form and void.
Wait a minute.
So, if he created the heaven and the earth, and he created the earth and the heaven, we gonna go mathematically, we gonna go scientifically, we gonna go geographically. What I felt about it, which I didn't see that anything going pseudo value to one and second. You gotta listen to Hebrew, we on my spirit. We got one here to put it. We got to read before we go into the second Enoch. Go to Hebrews 11. We're gonna read Hebrews 11 and 3. Because before we go there, because the brother said he don't read the other writings and everything, but we gonna read it in the 66. Because he said he stick to 66. But we're gonna read what we just read. We're gonna read the second Enoch. What we finna read, we're gonna read the second Enoch. Hebrews 11. And we're gonna read one verse. Let me get there. I want to make sure I'm with you when you read it. All right, Hebrews 11 and 3. Now look what this say, man. Read that, Hebrew.
Through faith, you understand that the worlds were framed by the word of Elohim, so that things which are seen were not made of things which do appear.
Wait a minute, how you gonna make something that you can see made out of something that don't appear?
It's he dwells in the secret place of the Most High. So I left the shadow. The Jews were lost. Through the laws, Jerusalem's ours. I got a true cause. I can't quit it, I'm too involved. His hands up, top still drew his arm. Don't do it, Sarge. Let off 50 shots, say you scared, they won't give you a charge. Let NASA tell it, those ain't chariots, they shoot stars. NASA in Hebrew means to see. Don't believe you, I don't believe you, I'm don't firmament is permanent, you don't move it all. I can prove it all. Switch is loaded, I see no move. No way you can dodge, just ignore it. Stand before that white room, you'll see who's in charge, repent. You on the highway to hell and that will close. I call you slow maps, post them, but I got new songs. I ain't drop them, but I promise they my true songs. 7 trumpets gon' be a cool. I'm a so if I do it, I'ma do it lost. Wait with all Charlemagne cleanse his way. By doing what you incline your ear. The laws and never disobey. Last time we did that, we got shipped away. Rights coming through. In the place. The singers of the street go down by the book. That's an 809. Hebrews in the mind. Eyes on the sinful kingdom, they twisting up Paul's epistles. Cross me, I'ma forgive you. Pray you repent for the Father get you. In the day of wrath, you think money gon' solve your issue? It's gon' burn with virgin. Aki, that's toilet tissue. That same fire gon' purify us. You want for the silver, they prepare and close in our necks instead of our holy members. They told us that we were only thugs. I beg to differ. They won't tell us, but they know it's us. They try to drug us up, but we sobered up, ain't no controlling us. They got us blindfold, eyes closed, now we got open eyes. I just want my folk to rise. I pray that the fam wake up the lost sheep, that's my ambition. Read chapter 21 and pay attention. When if they fall for anything, then I can't stand with them. If you listen, see repentance being famous ain't mine. my position, knowing my endless and inconceivable creation, which I conceive.
Go ahead, brother.
As I am making them known to you today.
You gotta skip over. You're just 25, yeah? No, I'm on 20. You in 25. No, you in the right place. My bad, brother. Yeah, you good. My bad.
Hey, Bob. Already started for.
There you go.
As I am making them known to you today, before any visible things had come into existence.
What?
And the light had not yet opened up. I, in the midst of the light, moved around in the invisible things.
In the what?
In the invisible things.
Man, I moved in the invisible thing. Me. Now, well, that's a whole other lesson. But he said, I moved in the invisible even before the light. So you keep talking about the light, the day. This guy was moving before it was in. But go ahead and read.
Like one of them, as the sun moves around from east to west and from west to east.
Yeah.
But the sun has rest. Yet I did not find rest.
He did what?
I did not find rest.
So if the sun ain't found no rest,
You keep telling me, God, I'm working at night. God, I'm working at night. I keep hearing that. That's what you said, bro. Yeah, if he stopped, the book say, we serve a God that neither sleep nor slumber. We serve a God that got the very universe in control. If he fell asleep on the throne, or if he didn't work at night, a whole lot of us would be gone. If the angels if he wasn't giving them direction to do it at night, the stars would fall out the sky. So, yeah, we're children of the day, but we don't understand what that children of the day really mean. That's what you tried to make it mean. We don't get some understanding. Keep reading.
Because everything was not yet created. And I thought up the idea.
He did what?
I thought up the idea.
So he thought up the idea in invisibleness, or something that you can't see. But he all gone out of mind. So you try to tell me if I fall out to that mode, I'm in the wrong? Go ahead.
And I thought up the idea of establishing a foundation to create a visible creation.
To create a visible, it was already created. He just wanted it for something, make something for us to see. Now, let's go to the next place. Let me we going right on into chapter 25, Hebrew. We're gonna read 1 through 5. You good? We're gonna go through and see which one you in. We're gonna start at 25. We're gonna start here. Then you're gonna skip over into that right there.
Gotcha.
Yep. We in 2nd Enoch, chapter 25. You understand? We picking it up right here. Go ahead and read, Hebrew.
Elohim explains to Enoch how the visible and the invisible come down from the very lowest darkness.
Wait a minute, come down from the where?
The very lowest.
Hold up, man. How the visible and the invisible come from a place that you can't see, but he called it dark? See, that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. That's what Hebrews said, man. Stuff that you see was created from things that you can't see. But he keep calling it dark. The very lowest dark means invisible, man. So stop with the play on the word, because we're going to get into the word stuff. We're going to kill that too. We're going to kill it. Ain't going to be no breath left in it when we get through killing it. We're going to monkey stomp it to death. We're going to pick it back up and slap it, make sure it ain't still alive. Then we're going to stomp on it again. Where you at, Hebrew?
Started that second part.
Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
And I command the lowest things. Let one of the invisible things descend visible. And the door descended, extremely large. And I looked at him, and behold, in his belly he had a great one.
Oh, he had a great what?
A great one. And I said to him, disintegrate yourself, adore, and let what is born from you become visible.
Maybe that was the invention of the universe. Maybe. Because they said it was a big bang. But he said let it disintegrate. That which is in you, let it disintegrate or explode. But guess what? Check this out. Keep it.
And he disintegrated himself. And there came out a very great light.
A very great light, man. But what did he do with that light? Go ahead.
I was in the midst of the great light.
And I was in the midst of the great light.
And light out of light, he is carried thus.
Wait a minute. Light out of light is carried thus. Where was it carried to? Go ahead.
And a great age came out.
Oh, now time is started. Because there wasn't no time before. This was before the beginning. He said a great age. We're going to look at it. We're going to look at the great age at the end of this lesson that got started. We're going to look at it. Go ahead.
And it revealed all the creation which I had thought up to create.
Yes, sir.
And I saw how good it was. And I placed for myself a throne. And I sat down on it. And then to the light I spoke. You go up hither.
Go ahead.
Then the throne. And be solidified much higher than the throne. And become the foundation for the highest thing.
Yes, sir.
And there is nothing higher than the light. Except nothing itself.
Except what?
Except nothing.
Hold on, how you gonna have a light that's above the throne of God and there's something above that is greater than you?
By sending evil angels one
God killed the verse 49. He cast upon them the fierceness of his anger, wrath, and indignation, and trouble by sending evil angels among them. See, God is not the one that physically goes out with a sword and starts slicing people up. That's not the way it works. God is sitting on his throne and he's controlling both sides. He's controlling the left-hand side, which is headed by Satan or the Beelzebub, and he's controlling the right-hand side, which is headed by Yahushua, or when you call it Jesus Christ. God is in the middle. God controls both sides. He sending the evil angels to go out and do his work. So when it says that God killed the firstborn of Egypt, or when God does any of the killing, God is not the one who comes down and does it himself. He sends the evil angels to go and do his bidding. 1 Samuel 16 and verse 14.
So we're finna read it. Go ahead and read. Start at that one, bro.
Shadrach said to him, it was by your will that Adam was deceived by mouth.
Woo!
You commanded your angels to worship Adam. But he who was first among the angels disobeyed your order.
Yeah, now we gonna read that over in that story of Adam and Eve. See, this he talking about the one who was chief among the angels. He talking about Satan.
Right.
He disobeyed when Michael brought him to Adam to worship him, and Satan said he wasn't gonna do it.
Right.
But go ahead and read it.
And it did not work. He did not worship him. And so you banished him because he transgressed your commandment.
Yeah.
And did not come forth to worship the creation of your hands. If you love man,
If you love me, Lord,
why did you not kill the devil?
why did you leave this joke over here to torment me? If you love the creation of your hand, hey man, tread lightly, brother.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead and read.
The artificial of all iniquity.
Yes, sir.
Who can fight against an invisible spirit?
Who can fight against an invisible spirit?
He enters the heart of men like a smoke.
Wait a minute. He enters the heart, the mind, the leg of men like a smoke.
Yes, sir.
When you see the barbecue smoke, when you hear a fire or whatever, you can't stop that smoke from going in your eyes, your nose, your mouth. Okay? And he said, man, Satan's so crafty, he the artificial, he the originator of all the niggas. He enters man's mind like a smoke. Unaware. Because guess what? The book say, man, how can you overthrow a house at first you divide the strong? See, he done went in your mind, he done bind you up. Like, and then he done entered you like a smoke, brothers and sisters. And you don't even, sometimes you don't even know he just snuck in your house. In there. And he just walking around planting seeds. And teaches men what?
And teaches them all kinds of sin.
Yeah.
He even fight against you, the immortal God.
Right.
And so what can pitiful man do against him?
Right.
Yet have mercy, master, and destroy punishment. Otherwise receive me also with the sinner. For if you will not be merciful with sinners, where are your mercies and where is your compassion, O Lord?
Now, Shadrach is asking the Most High to destroy punishment. Why is Shadrach asking the Most High to destroy punishment? Because Shadrach sees how he slips back and forth in the sin. He said, man, ain't no way in the world I'm going to escape the punishment. So, Lord, destroy punishment. If you love us,
Get rid of that so I don't have to deal with it. That's why Paul was struggling.
Exactly, bro. That Roman sin.
So
Shadrach said, no, what you just don't destroy either. Why did you kill Satan? If you ain't going to kill Satan, destroy punishment. What's that?
Man, why don't you just get rid of this joker? We ain't got to worry about this with all this foolishness.
He finna tell you.
Because, I can't say for y'all. I know I go back and forth, every now and then.
And see, this is the thing. This is the battle, bro. Trying to stay in divine order or dealing with this Babylonian chaos.
Right.
Lord, can tell Shadrach something. Jump on down to chapter 6. We're going to read it. We're going to read chapter 6, man.
What if you were prepared for all those interview curveballs?
Chapter 6. And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. And the Lord said, My spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown.
The Book of the Watchers. Angels, the demoralization of mankind, the intercession of the angels on behalf of mankind, the dooms pronounced by God on the angels, the Messianic Kingdom. Chapter 6. And it came to pass, when the children of men had multiplied, that in those days were born unto them beautiful and comely daughters. And the angels, the children of the heaven, saw and lusted after them, and said to one another, Come, let us choose us wives from among the children of men, and beget us children. And Semjaza, who was their leader, said unto them, I fear ye will not indeed agree to do this deed, and I alone shall have to pay the penalty of a great sin. And they all answered him and said, Let us all swear an oath, and all bind ourselves by mutual imprecations, not to abandon this plan, but to do this thing. Then swear they all together, and bound themselves by mutual imprecations upon it. And there were in all 200 who descended in the days of Jared on the summit of Mount Hermon. And they called it Mount Hermon because they'd sworn and bound themselves by mutual imprecations upon it. And these are the names of their leaders: Semiazaz, their leader, Arikabah, Ramael, Kokabiel, Tamiel, Ramiel, Danel, Ezekiel, Barakijal, Asael, Amaros, Batarel, Ananel, Zachiel, Samsapiel, Satarel, Turel, Jomjael, Sariel. These are their chiefs of tens. Chapter 7. And all the others together with them took unto themselves wives, each chose for himself one. And they began to go in unto them and defile themselves with them. And they taught them charms and enchantments, and the cutting of roots, and made them acquainted with plants. And they became pregnant, and they bare great giants, whose height was 3,000 ells.
This is a story about never giving up. A story of giants. There's a long ridge in central Tripp County, South Dakota. It looks out of place. There was a time when it wasn't there. They say it was a summer of storms when Red Calf's people were camped south of the Great Muddy, now known as the Missouri River. Cloud and Plum were married in a moon of ripening berries. 2 evenings later, a storm blew in. Big black clouds rolled across the sky, and the thunder shouted, their angry eyes flashing with the light of 100 suns. But the storm was not the worst thing that happened. Something dark and ugly came out of the night, ripping into the village. Cloud and Plum huddled in their lodge. From the darkness they heard cries of terror. Women and children screamed. Something ripped into their lodge, a mountainous black figure. It was Ea the giant, with the strength of 1,000 men, blackest of hearts, and a bottomless hunger. A hand larger than a grown man snatched Plum away from Cloud and tossed her into a mouth like a large hole in the ground. She was gone. Ea tore apart the village to satisfy his hunger. No one could stop him. He grabbed girls and young women and tossed them into his wide, slobbering mouth, and he was gone into the blackness of the stormy night. By dawn, the storm weakened. Red Calf gathered the council of old men to consider what to do. There was no use to do anything, some said. Ea is too big and powerful. Move the village and hope he doesn't return, some advised. Cloud didn't intend to make the move. He was angry and announced he would gather his weapons and strike out after Ea. 7 others joined him. 8 young men headed east, armed with lances, knives, and bows and arrows. Ea's trail was easy to follow. His footprints were so deep, rainwater collected in them. They found him asleep on a hillside. He was an ugly beast, naked and unwashed, twigs and branches caught in his long, tangled hair. Cloud and the others had never seen Ea. They knew him as an imaginary creature in the stories told by the old ones. Now there he was, bigger than any living thing. Inside his stomach were Plum and the other girls. Black Fox asked the question on all their minds. How will we defeat such a thing? We will think of something, Cloud said. Ea arose and walked eastward, flattening everything in his path. They followed until the giant stopped at dusk to sleep in a gully. The young men made camp, and Cloud suddenly thought of an idea to kill him. We will trap him, he announced. He has a weakness. He is always hungry. We will use it to trap him. I will offer myself. I will get him to chase me, and I will lead him into the trap, a hole in the ground that we will dig. Through the night they talked. 6 would dig a hole while Cloud and 1 other would decoy Ea to the trap. The place for the trap was a dry creek where the ground was sand and easy to dig. They made stone axes. The digging started when Cloud and Yellowhawk left to find the giant. They would keep him decoyed. When the signal fire was lit, they would know the trap was ready. Then they would lead him to it. They found him easily, but Ea never bathed and could be located at great distances when the wind was right. The others dug and dug. Dirt piled up on each side of the trench as they dug deeper and deeper. Days and nights passed. The diggers worked without rest. Out on the prairie, Ea set out with long strides. Cloud and Yellowhawk ran to keep pace. All went well until Ea spotted them. With a yell of surprise and anger, he stumbled after them. The ground shook. Ea's feet were like boulders crashing to the earth, yet they were able to stay away from him. It was a dangerous game, and Cloud and Yellowhawk grew tired because they could not rest. Back to the west, the trench was growing deeper and deeper. The others worked their fingers bloody. The thought of their women inside the ugly giant's stomach was enough to make them work harder. The trench was as deep as 5 men standing on top of one another. It was finished. It was time to signal Cloud and Yellowhawk. The diggers gathered driftwood and dried brush to cover the trench. Then another pile of wood was set on fire. Cloud and Yellowhawk saw the fire in the distance. The others had finished the trap. Now Cloud would have to lead the giant. He prayed and made offerings, and went after the angry and dangerous Ea. It was easy to get him to follow, but to stay alive, Cloud had to keep out of the giant's long reach. The chase continued through the day, and Cloud was tiring. He led Ea across the prairie toward the trench. The others saw Ea approaching and hid. If Ea fell into the trench, they had to collapse the mounds of earth into the hole. Closer, it became looming larger and larger. They saw a man running before him. It was Cloud, stumbling badly. Soaked in sweat, he ran only on sheer willpower. He fell many times and fought mightily to stand and push on. On a grassy slope, Cloud lost his footing and slid. Ea's hand came down like a falling tree. Cloud rolled and barely avoided being flattened. But he had no more strength. He was too exhausted to be afraid. He had given everything he had and could do no more. Closing his eyes, he waited for Ea to crush the life out of him. But somewhere deep inside, he found a pebble of strength, one last spark of hope to save Plum and the other women. With a bellow of rage, he rolled away from Ea's outstretched fingers and leaped to his feet. The ground shook under Ea as Cloud ran for the trench. Behind him, Ea's mouth was curled into a snarl. He his yellow teeth bared, his long black hair swirling like black smoke. Cloud reached the trench and was halfway across when he heard a shout of triumph, and Dia's cry of surprise, and a loud cracking. Dia followed Cloud and broke through the trench covering. It was far too heavy, and he went down into the trench. Dia fell to the bottom, caught firmly in the hole. Dust billowed upward as he struggled, filling the air with his deafening yells of rage. The others collapsed to dirt down into the trench. Dia's yells turned to whimpers. His arm reached up, one hand clawed at the edge of the hole, but he could not free himself. Dia struggled with all his might, coughing as dirt covered his head. His struggles weakened, and he coughed no more. Silence fell over the land. All the young men stood gaping at the dead giant. Somehow, they had defeated it. Cloud jumped into the trench and sliced open Dia's stomach. Foul air and green-yellow slime leaked out. He reached in and pulled out the body of a girl more dead than alive. With a yell, the other young men jumped into the pit as Cloud enlarged the opening and found more bodies. All the young women and girls were barely alive. The young men pulled them out of the giant's stomach and took them to the nearby stream. In its cool waters, they were gently revived, cleaned. The young man filled in the hole to cover Dia's body, and the dirt piled higher and higher until it became a long ridge. In time, grass and cactus grew on it. Cloud and Plum grew old together. They raised 2 children along the way and heard the laughter of several grandchildren. On stormy summer nights, Plum would gather her grandchildren and tell them the story of a terrible, ugly giant. The little ones would ask Grandma Plum if giants were real, and she would only smile. It was so long ago, that summer of many storms, in the days before the coming of horses. Plum, Cloud, and the others live only in stories now. The same is true of Dia. But there is a long ridge covered with grass and cactus running east to west along a highway. Many people drive by it every day. To most, it is only a long hill. A few of us, though, still remember the story of how Dia was defeated. We know that ridge is his grave, but in our hearts we think of it more as something built by love, courage, and perseverance, and by giants.
Turn to proof. Go to Ezekiel. Up there. So they did whatever. And perverse generation. Come on. How long shall I be with you? Read. How long shall I suffer you? Bring him hither. He said, bring this man to me. Come on. And Mashiach rebuked the devil. The what? The devil. The what? The devil. Showing you that all the mental disorders, back then they knew that that was a spirit that was on them. It was a spirit that was controlling these people to have you doing all type of, to jumping in fires and falling in the water. Today, your sorcerers, the psychiatrists, they try to prescribe medications to suppress those spirits. It's nothing but sorcery. All that stuff is sorcery. They're trying to devise medication and treatment to suppress the. Oh, they can't get. Most of the time, they don't get rid of it. They only try to suppress it. A bright cloud. Now, is this talking about fun? And with him. So when he brought them up and transfigured himself, then they seen Moses and Elias or Elijah speaking with him. Keep reading. Then answered Peter and said unto Mashiach, come on, Mashiach, is it good for us to be here? They said, when they seen all this stuff going on, they said, hold on, are we supposed to be here right now? Behold,
A bright cloud. A what? A bright cloud. A bright cloud. Now, is this talking about some type of the cloud you see that rain come on? No, this has nothing to do with that. When it says a cloud, it's talking about the chariots of God. That's what it's referring to. Go to Ezekiel chapter 1. This ain't talking about the cloud. The clouds in the Bible aren't talking about the clouds you see up there in the sky. This is another term for the chariot, what you call UFO. The angelic beings, what they ride in. Give me Ezekiel 1 and verse 4.
And I looked, and behold, a whirlwind came out of the north.
They what?
A whirlwind came out of the north. Read. A great cloud. A what? A great cloud.
A great cloud. Guys, we're going to find out if that's talking about where the rain comes out of. Keep reading.
And a fire enfolding itself. Come on. And a brightness was about it. Come on. And out of the midst thereof, as the color of amber. Out of the midst of fire.
Now jump down to verse 14.
Ezekiel chapter 1, verse 14. And the living creatures bring in return as the appearance of a flash of light.
So these things are moving quick. They was moving quick all the way around. Jump down to verse. Keep going. Keep going.
Now, as I beheld the living creature, behold, one wheel upon the earth by the living creatures, read, with his four faces. Come on. The appearance of the wheel.
Of the what?
The wheel.
The clouds are what?
Wheel. Come on. And their work was like unto the color of a beryl. Come on. And they four had one likeness. Read. And their appearance and their work was as it were a wheel in the middle of a wheel.
A wheel in the middle of the wheel. That's what he was saying. A wheel in the middle of a wheel. Jump to verse 19.
Verse 19. And when the living creatures went, the wheels went by them. And when the living creatures were lifted up from the earth,
were what?
Lifted up from the earth.
They lifted up from the earth. Come on.
The wheels were lifted up.
The wheels were lifted up. So this is talking about what these people be calling UFOs and stuff like that. Unidentified flying objects. That's what the clouds represent in the Bible. Yes, those things are real, but they're not unidentified. They're identified. The government knows exactly what those things are.
Preach.
How quickly monsters from outer space. The government has been telling us for years that they're not real. They're weather balloons, or swamp gas, or reflections from the sun, or the ravings of lunatics. But serious UFO researchers say a breakthrough may be very close. Some of the government scientists who worked on the top-secret Project Blue Book are ready to talk. What's more, a series of revealing government documents have trickled out of the federal files, documents that paint a much different picture of the UFO phenomenon. One of
the Mayan Empire, the Zeta Reticulations, are domesticated. They are a form of livestock, but the quadruped variety of livestock on our planet, they know they're livestock for the most part, right? They know that they lead pitiable, miserable existences in a different food source. This latest iteration of what passed for humanity 4.0, 5.0, 9.0, who knows how many, in the briefing papers Bob Lazar read in his time at S4. If memory serves, there was something in there about at least the Greys, the Zeta Reticulations, being one of the genetic engineering groups, had genetically altered or corrected the human race something on the order of 28 times by that point, okay? So 28 different times in the evolution of the human race, there was these corrections, these genetic alterations. And that's just one race, that's the Zetas. But who are the Zetas really working for? I would argue that at least some of the gray factions work for the reptilians. They work for the Draco. They work for the Orion Empire, essentially. Elements of the same people who've been, quote-unquote, demonically tormented or have had stage-managed dreams taken over by reptilians, grays, or, you name it. They live these Freddy Krueger nightmares, but in real time, in a way that no person but only a 3D understanding of space and time could understand. Because these people are literally trapped within their own bodies at night, paralysis, they can't wake themselves up, and they literally have, for lack of a better term, but a term that some Christians might understand, a demon inside of them. Call it reptilians for people like us, and BS. Demons do get into people, different stripes, we're not all...
To proof, go to Ezekiel chapter 1. This ain't talking about a cloud. The clouds in the Bible aren't talking about the clouds you see up there in the sky. This is another term for the chariot, what you call UFOs. The angelic beings, what they ride in. Give me Ezekiel 1 and verse 4.
And I looked, and behold, a whirlwind came out of the north.
A what?
A whirlwind came out of the north.
Read.
A great
Cloud. Was a what?
A great cloud.
A great cloud. As we read, we're gonna find out if that's talking about where the rain comes out of. Keep reading.
And a fire enfolding itself.
Come on.
And a brightness was about it.
Come on.
And out of the midst thereof, as the color of amber, out of the midst of fire.
Out of the fire. Now jump down to verse 14.
1 verse 14 reads as follows. And the living creatures ran and returned as the appearance of a flash of light.
So these things was moving quick. They was moving quick all the way around. Jump down to verse 6. Keep going. Keep going.
Now as I beheld the living creatures, behold, one wheel upon the earth by the living creatures, with his 4 faces.
Come on.
The appearance of the wheel.
Of the what?
Wheel.
Clouds are what?
Wheel.
Come on.
And their work was like unto the color of a beryl.
Come on.
And they 4 had one likeness. Read. And their appearance and their work was as it were a wheel in the middle of a wheel.
A wheel in the middle of the wheel. That's what he was saying. A wheel in the middle of a wheel. Jump to verse 19.
Verse 19. And when the living creatures went, the wheels went by them. And when the living creatures were lifted up from the earth,
were what?
Lifted up from the earth.
They lifted up from the earth. Come on.
The wheels were lifted up.
The wheels were lifted up. So this is talking about what these people be calling UFOs and stuff like that. Unidentified flying objects. That's what the clouds represent in the Bible. Yes, those things are real, but they're not unidentified. They're identified. The government knows exactly what those things are.
Read.
Go back to Matthew 17.
Matthew 17
and verse 5.
Verse 5. While he had spake, behold, a bright cloud overshadowed them.
This was a UFO, what they would call the UFO. It's called the chariot or whirlwind in the Bible. Those are all 3 synonymous. Come on.
And behold, a voice out of the cloud said, This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased.
Come on.
Hear ye him.
Hear ye him. That's what the voice out of the UFO or out of the chariot said. It said, Hear ye him. Deuteronomy 18, verse 15.
Oh, boy, I was just going to suggest that.
This is the prophecy coming to pass.
Oh, yeah.
All
to military abductions and my labs for short. My labs are legitimate alien abductees who, for reasons which I will explain, are kidnapped, trained, and utilized as deep black operatives by elements of the military intelligence community. And this information has come with a price. There's many people I know, some who've literally been killed, some who've been harassed unmercifully, not just from human intelligence agencies, but from the reptilians and the aliens themselves. Any half-breakers to a focus are honored and harassed by deep black elements of the military intelligence. However, when a researcher or an abductee starts getting harassed, threatened by the reptilian, you know that that person is crossed over the threshold, and I will go into details about that. But now, before I delve into this speech, there's certain issues that I need to relate to. One of which is the issue of credibility. For too long, the American people have obtained their information about various eccentric subjects from patently non-credible sources. And just to give you a few examples, I'd like to share from the history examples where the academic community, the scientific community, and establishment historians have all collaborated to, in effect, dumb down the public. Pearl Harbor conspiracies, JFK conspiracies, they're still being maintained today because the full truth about any of those subjects were to be revealed. It would undermine other conspiracies that they are tangentially connected to. Now, one of the problems I've always had is people who are always trying to big shot. People that are PhDs, people that are scientists, people that are members or former members of aerospace community. Show up at these conferences, pumping on their chest like Tarzan. Here I am, big shot researcher. You have to listen to me, I know what I'm talking about. Time after time, in examples such as MIA issue, missing prisoners of war, atomic veterans who utilize it in radiation experiments or have taken part in above-ground atmospheric nuclear tests. Veterans of the Southeast Asian conflict that were afflicted with what's been known as Agent Orange syndrome, exposure to dioxin, and most recently, Gulf War syndrome, which has come about through the use of an anthrax vaccine. There's an excellent book about the subject called Vaccine A, written by someone named Matsumoto. And what all these subjects have in common is when these people that have been afflicted with one sort of ailment or another has come forward to the VA department, to the rest of the medical scientific community, what has always happened without exception is that some establishment shill, some scientist, some academic always pops up and dismisses out of hand the claims of the sufferer of Agent Orange, the sufferer of the radiation experiments, the sufferer of the anthrax vaccine. There's a gigantic dung heap of these establishment shills that have sought to suppress and downplay and marginalize any information which contradicts the official spin. Most often as not, the excuse has been used of a psychological disorder, a psychological aberration on the part of veterans suffering from Gulf War syndrome, veterans suffering from Agent Orange exposure. Things such as the deliberate disappearance of military records of some of these individuals who've suffered from radiation exposure has been utilized. Now, it's interesting when Bob Lazar came forward with his astonishing claims about his work at S4, and it turned out that his educational records couldn't be found. Debunkers all had a good laugh and said, well, he can't prove that he's a scientist, he can't prove he worked at Los Alamos. But that modus operandi has been used against people who've been exposed to radiation, who've been exposed to dioxins from Agent Orange, who've been exposed in a number of other instances. It's not a new method of dealing with potential whistleblowers. There's a corporate financial agenda at work which strives to attain global centralized control at the expense of the individual. So I want you to keep that in mind as I speak today, because people are going to wonder about my credibility. People are going to wonder about the credibility of the abductees in my labs who share their information with me. And yet, for many years, these same people who are questioning the credibility of myself and my colleagues have bought into the lies of the establishment, have bought into the lies of the scientific community. And nowhere is that more prevalent than in the UFO field. For example, today is the age of the camcorder. You can't very well debunk
and mock and ridicule a camcorder. So what happens? These experts in the aerospace field pop up, like so many pieces of feces which refuses to be flushed. They pop up and they say, oh, well, that's just the stealth craft. And the dumb, ignorant audience, national television audience, nods their head dumbly, yeah, stealth. But stealth, folks, has nothing to do with the visual spectrum. Stealth has everything to do with what's known as the radar cross-section, RCS, of a craft, utilizing certain composite materials, designing the craft in such a way as there's no right angles to reflect back radar signals. The radar cross-section can be reduced to such an extent that for all intents and purposes it is invisible to radar. Not entirely invisible, but small enough to thwart any attempt at ground control intercept radar stations, airborne radar lock-on platforms to lock on to the craft. So when people say, well, oh, that video shows like a stealth aircraft, that's just another lie. And they can only get away with that because the general public is ignorant about such issues. If it was a stealth aircraft, what is it doing lighting up the whole countryside? Doesn't that defeat the whole purpose of stealth? I mean, think about it. It defeats the whole purpose of stealth. Now, and unless you're talking about the invisible jumbo jet that crashed in the Pentagon, that was equipped with a Romulan cloaking device. But the thing is, you always have these chills, and there's some here at this conference, UFO debunkers. Now, you can always tell who a UFO debunker is. Essentially a paid government liar. How do you know? Well, rule number one in counterintelligence psychological warfare operations is you have to have a plausible reason for being someplace. If you're, and by its very nature, a UFO debunker is a covert deniable asset of the U.S. government or some other government. But they have to have an explanation for being somewhere. This is like in overseas operations. A person may have the cover of Agency for International Development. They could have the cover of a foreign service worker. They can have a cover of a relief worker. A UFO debunker doesn't have a reason for being here. They don't have a reason why on the pretty websites they have nothing but articles debunking alien abductions, debunking the UFO subject in general. So just keep all this in mind. I have to preface this because there's some people out there that still cling on to this notion that people with PhDs and other letters after their name are somehow more credible than people who don't have those letters after their name. So now that I got that out of the way, you're probably wondering who I am. Understood.